Allison here. Happy Monday with special guest Garrett McGrath. Welcome on, Garrett.
Well, Kimberly, thank you very much. I am really honored to be on here, and I don't say that lightly, as I've spent a lot of my time, like you said, interviewing, working in network marketing, being president of the Association of Network Marketing Professionals, and I don't mean in any way to say anything less of the other people that I've shared with, but you are totally unique in this space. I mean that. I mean, there's, one of the things, I'm a real fan of podcasts. I love podcasts. I mean, I don't really watch TV at all. I really would rather watch a
Same.
podcast. Yeah, and we have our TV is hooked up to podcasts on YouTube or wherever that is, Spotify, and to have celebrated your 500,000 downloads, I mean, puts you in a very elite class. And I know you say it's about consistency, and I get that that is true, but you also have to have content that people want to download.
Good point.
Hey, you're being consistent, but I'm not so.
That is helpful. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And also, having written 6 books, that takes I know you have a passion for helping people, and you live a life that's constantly teaching you, and you want to teach other people. And then having a TEDx talk, that was in the top 10, those are confirmation from the outside world that the value that they're receiving from you, and you've chosen to keep going and make sure that that value is available to people. Last thing I'll say is this to your audience. Sometimes we always have to be careful that familiarity, that law of familiarity, it breeds complacency. Mm-hmm. I think that sometimes maybe your audience takes that for granted, but I just wanted to affirm that, say that again as an outside person. I think that's got a little bit of credibility in this area to say that with authority, and just say, very grateful. God bless you. And thank you for inviting me on to be here together with you and your audience and your community and team.
Oh, thank you so much, Garrett. That's such a sweet introduction. And I really wanted to do this because obviously I think the work that you're doing is so incredible. And I'll give you a little backstory of how this came to be. And I, of course, want them to meet you. So I would love to know in the comments, you guys, because you may or may not know Garrett, share in the comments, let him know where you're tuning in from, city, state, province, country, and how long you've been in network marketing. Or if you're not in network marketing anymore, have you done network marketing before, and what was it? What did you do when you were in network marketing? So I wanted to put this together because the Association of Network Marketing Professionals, I actually I reached out to the Direct Selling Association when I was retired from network marketing and back in it, but I had reached out and I said, look, who's protecting the little guys? Who's advocating for those out in the field? Because you can see the Direct Selling Association is really for the companies. Didn't hear anything back. And I was like, this is just weird. And I was like, I feel like I need to do something to help people. And then I was talking to you, you're like, the Association of Network Marketing Professionals. I was like, oh, that was exactly what I had asked for. And then within like a month, you and I connected in Messenger. So I wanted to share you and what you're doing with my audience, because it's so important to me that people see that this is a profession, and whether or not it's a side hustle, part-time thing for you, fill in the gaps financially for your family, or it's what you do full-time like me, it is a profession. And what we get to do is we get to raise the bar. We get to set the standard for what this gets to be. And I'm so passionate about showing people that's possible. And obviously you're the leader, you're the president. So why don't you introduce yourself? Give us the backstory. I think you're actively in network marketing as well, but how did you get into this association? Like, tell us about your network marketing career.
So without going so far back, but I don't know Kimberly, have you ever seen the show Man vs. Wild with Bear Grylls? Do you know that show?
Yes.
So his parents, that's Bear Grylls, is Lady Sally Grylls and Sir Michael Grylls. They were my original sponsors into network marketing.
No way.
Yeah. So I know Bear since I think he must be 16 years of age. And
oh my gosh, that's so cool.
That is, and it really was. But what's interesting, and this is one of the things that I learned, my first 2.5 years in network marketing, I was going broke enthusiastically. I mean, that really was. And I say that even though I had the best sponsors, I mean, they were fantastic. And when I say loving, I use that word on purpose, supportive. I mean, I learned how to tie my first Windsor knot by Sir Michael Grylls. I got to eat at the House of Parliament. I mean, I learned so much about life from their family, but I just wasn't ready. And that's something that's also important. When the student is ready, the teacher appears. And I
Amen.
think that's
Yes.
something that everyone has to understand, and that you have to accept a readiness that you can succeed in this, and it's just not other people. So
Mhm.
that was one of the big lessons. And I could have easily, left network marketing. And I actually went to an event, and this, Kimberly, this is not just to edify you, but to edify anyone that's a coach. Went to an event, and the gentleman at the event said, you got to go to this event in New Orleans. There's going to be 10,000 people there. You'll raise your life up to the height of your lowest limiting belief. You've got to see people doing it in abundance, just
I
like you,
love that.
so you can do that. So I said, okay, New Orleans. He said, if you don't have the money in your bank account, enroll yourself there. In other words, enroll distributors, enroll enough distributors to get there. Well, I had enrolled no distributors. So that wasn't an option for me. The second thing he said was, well, then sell your products to get there. I couldn't sell any products. And I mean, I remember sitting there like deflated.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
And then he just eventually said, if you can't do that, have a yard sale, sell some of your stuff. Well, I
Yeah.
moved from Ireland with some stuff I didn't have a lot. I sold what I had basically to get there.
Wow.
It changed my life. And I was sitting in the nosebleed seats, 10,000 people. And a guy called Jeff Roberti ran down, and he had a genealogy, and it ran all the way around the audience. And it was those old paper ones that unfolded like an accordion and went on forever. And I remember sitting in amazement. And I saw all these stories, and I walked out of there, and they sold a magazine called $1 Million something or other, Secrets, I think it was called. I couldn't even afford to buy it, but I got someone to give me one. And I
Nice.
kept that magazine. You know what's amazing? I think it was 25 years later, as president of the Association of Network Marketing Professionals, I welcomed Jeff Roberti on stage. I still had that magazine, and I asked him.
Oh, how cool is that?
And I say that because what you said is, we're doing worthy work. It's the grassroots. If you forget where you've come from, you're on your way back. And I remember always what it was like to be that person who was going broke enthusiastic. That sounds funny, but it was painful. It was very hard looking in the mirror to realize I couldn't enroll distributors. It was even harder looking in the mirror to say I couldn't, sell a product. And it was even harder looking in the mirror to think that I'm going to have to sell my stuff to go there. But I'd think back today and say, if I didn't do that, I'd never met my wife. I wouldn't have the life that I've got. I wouldn't have been restored in my faith, in Jesus Christ. And that was restored through some things that happened in network marketing. I wouldn't have our three children, Philip, Victoria, and Liam.
Wow.
And I wouldn't be here together with you. And
Yeah.
sometimes there's moments that we just don't know what's on the other side of that. And I really thank God every day that he placed on my heart enough understanding that what I was looking for was on the other side of that discomfort to get to that event. And then everything is different since then. And the challenge is, I'll say this, like when Kimberly Olsen says to you, come to a training, when she said, get on the Zoom, we have a tendency to be so cynical that what we do is our cynicism is success sabotage.
Ooh, write that down, y'all.
It is success sabotage, and it stops us from putting ourselves in the environment, the atmosphere that we can grow in. It's the enemy speaking to us. That's not anything else that's speaking to us. In fact, when we feel a level of discomfort, we should know there's perhaps an opportunity for growth there. And that you said about the association, I know this sounds big, but I believe we're doing worthy work. Like you said,
absolutely. Yeah.
like Kimberly, think about this. You said some of your audience may not be in network marketing. I think the backbone of the United States, and I mean the entire world, but I'm going to choose the United States because I chose to come over here from Ireland because I just love being here and I celebrate, living here, and I love it. But think about this. The economy forever has really been driven by the entrepreneur. Solve problems, they create income, they create economies, and that's what we're celebrating here. Whether you choose it to be network marketing, whether you choose it to be the gig economy, whether you choose it to be a self-employed entrepreneur, you need the mentorship that Kimberly's offering, but you also need the support.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I believe is the future of the United States. It's the future of every country, because why do people do that? They do it for, and particularly it's on a foundation of faith. It's based upon, I want to hang out with my family. In other words, people are saying, I want to choose the 40 hours that I work. I want to, or maybe it's less, but you want to choose the hours that you work. I want to choose the people I work with, and I want to choose where I work, because my family and faith is important to me. Because when you solve these three pieces, the other two pieces are really can come together. But when these other three pieces are not in your control, so far often you're taken away from your faith, you're taken away from your family. And I know that's one of the things that you're a big time stand for, is opening up people's minds that you are in control of that you and God are a majority. And that's really what the association is about. It's about giving you an opportunity to see people doing it. When you and I jumped on here, I talked about the 3 A's.
Yeah, will you share that? I was going to ask you to. Perfect. I'm going to grab something.
No, I think it's one of the most fantastic examples of that. So let me show you how it could not work. Now think about Kimberly, how it could not work. Let's say Kimberly is about her ego, which she's not, so please hear me. I'm just trying to make an example, but I want to show you how it could possibly not work. And through this extreme example, I think you'll get the idea. So Kimberly definitely lives a life, when you look at it, she looks good. Or in other words, she always looks on point in terms of she wears, how put together that she is. If you look at her background, it also looks clean. It looks on point. It looks upscale. When you look at her lifestyle, you can see that she not only lives in a nice neighborhood, that her family, everything about her looks great. And you could say that's like the house on the hill. You could say that just looks fantastic, but just leave it there. In other words, it's something that was entertaining, but the educational, inspirational value got left on. This is just something that's entertaining. So what makes it work is the 3 A's. Number one, Kimberly pours into you all the time. And she said the first A is, you've got to accept that you are worthy.
Love that.
Kimberly pours that into you all the time. Doesn't she say all the time, those of you that are in the community, you are worthy. You can do this. Let me show it. You're already perfect and good enough. We can add to it. You can get started, so that you suddenly feel I can do this. I can accept this. She brings on guests that help you in that, because without a firm foundation of acceptance, the rest doesn't happen. It just kind of super temporary. It's not built in a rock. The second one then is aspirational. In other words, you've got to want to aspire to have that life. In other words, if you look at Kimberly, do you go, I feel aligned with her faith. It feels comfortable to me. It feels in alignment with mine. In fact, that's what I want to have. I feel aligned with how she is with her family, how she is with her fitness, how she is with her finances, how she embraces freedom. In other words, you literally aspire to have most aspects of her life. But that, again, just strengthens the first one. It could be just educational. It could be just entertaining as well until the third one comes. You've got to be able to access her story. You've got to be able to come on board with it. You've got to, because remember, 100% of people who don't take the first step, they never take the second step. Martin Luther King said it another way. He said, you don't need to see your way up the entire, this entire staircase. In other words, she's at the top of the staircase. So you don't want to compare her chapter 12 to your chapter 1, her step 100 to your step number 1. But if you never take the first step, so how does she help you take the first step? She tells you stories. She shares transparently. She shares vulnerably till you go, oh my gosh, that's just like me. Oh my gosh, she's just like me. You know what? Her day doesn't go perfectly. Her mindset's not always perfect. When you go back into her past, when she talks about that first steps that she was scared of, do I feel worthy? I was scared to find my first customer. I was terrified when I lost my first customer. I was scared to get my first distributor. I was terrified when I lost my first distributor. I was terrified when my first distributor stayed, and how could I help them rank advance? All of these steps as we go up the steps.
It's like, you know me.
But it's like I've watched you. We all do it. But you know
Right.
what? How many people do the zero to hero story, Kimberly?
Right. Yeah.
And they don't. They're not willing to do that because they go, well, your posture, you can't. You're not super cool. But they lose that third part. If you don't access the story, if you don't see yourself taking the first step, remember this. It's so simple. Yes, you buy the book. Yes, you'll go to the seminars. Yes, you'll do all the things like that, but you won't take the steps. And then without action, life rewards action. And that's what I love. I mean, mean this. I have deep, deep admiration and appreciation because so many people don't have the confidence in who they are to make themselves vulnerable and accessible. You teach out of your scar, not out of the open wound. Because when you teach out of the open wound, it's a victim mentality and people don't feel like going to you. But I mean this, and I don't mean just to make this a complete edification of you, but I think for your people to understand what makes you so successful. And then why did we do the NMP? Is putting on an event where you can have, if there were possibly in the world, 60 Kimberly Olsons. I'm not saying there are, so don't hear it that way. But what I'm trying to say is, can you imagine 60 people coming on stage and sharing their story with the understanding of that framework? Do you think that you could really find someone that you just go, I really can access this story? I'm going to do on Monday what they did as their first step, and I'm going to put myself on the way to success. That's what it's about, guys. That's what
I love that. Well, I would love for you to share with that. So you guys know I'm a huge advocate for in-person events. We just had a retreat in Destin, Florida, and I don't know how to describe it if you haven't gone to anything lately or it's been a minute. There is something that happens in a room that cannot happen on a Zoom. And we love Zooms, we love lives because we can, reach each other globally when we're not in person with each other. But there is just something, I don't know, it's almost like you can energetically connect so deeply that you feel moved. And we all have that moment where, and I had my moment, you've had your moment where you flip a switch where you say, you know what? I can do this. Like that belief does catch up. You start to maybe not have the confidence yet, but you feel courageous enough to put yourself out there and take the step because you see someone on that stage sharing their story and you go, oh my gosh, that's me. Okay. If they can do it, I can. So will you share with us what this event entails, when it is, the details? I did put our referral link. It's on my Facebook cover on my personal profile. If any of you need it, let me know. Can you share with them what this event is all about and how they can be a part of it?
And you also have a $50 off coupon code. So it's right now.
I didn't know that. Thank you. Okay, guys, use my link. You get 50 off.
I think it's Kimberly 50. So
okay,
Kimberly 50. So the price is $349. I'll go back and answer your question, but it's $349.
Yeah.
$50 off, it's $299. So awesome. Again, I said this, don't let the enemy speak into your life. Don't let cynicism, separate you from the potential that's within you.
Yes.
At least just listen to it and ask yourself, what if? So I recently spoke at the DSU, which is the Direct Selling University. It's my third time or the last 4 times speaking at that event. It's only for corporate executives. You got to be a CEO or corporate executives. I've been a CEO. I've been a president. I've been in the C-suite. So is my wife. Been 30 years in network marketing. I've built the top of 5 different companies. I'm currently built the 6th. I'm right now also president of the Association of Network Marketing Professionals for 10 years. So I was on that stage. But one thing that Kimberly just said, one of the speakers shared a stat that I'd never heard before. I took a picture of the slide. I got to share it. And they said that in-person events are not only coming back. They did a study of the companies that were in the room, and they said the companies that got earliest back to in-person events are the companies that are experiencing the most growth. Interesting.
Yeah.
Because people are now craving what you said, in-person events. In fact, somebody I interviewed on Saturday said, we don't do trainings and presentations as much in person. We do a lot of that on Zoom, but we do culture days. We have, it's not a really nice word, culture days. I thought that
Yes.
was, I was to say, I was like, oh, that's so smart. But I'm saying this for a reason. They share that you're 34 times more powerful, or you will receive information that will impact you 34 times more powerfully than you do on a Zoom. So I thought, how could that be possible? So then I heard Tony Robbins share a similar stat. And he said the science is, first of all, from a biblical perspective, there's so many examples of fellowship when you do it in numbers because you're of one accord. There's just something that gets inside your spirit. But scientifically, there's something else. It's called a mirror neuron. So
Right.
we all use mirror neurons. So when you see something one-to-one, you have your mirror neuron firing with the other person that's sharing with you. So the way it works is this. When you put two people together that want to learn, they're in, there's some form of rapport. The person with the strongest belief system will influence the other. So think about it. One presenter, one person, that's one-to-one. Now, when you have one presenter, one conversation, one person sharing, and there's another person in the audience who is in agreement. And how do we know agreement? Well, we know that it's spontaneous when people clap, when they nod, like I'm doing right now, when they sit forward in their seat, like I'm doing right now. You know that these two people are in agreement. Suddenly now you have two people influencing you. If there's three, we have three people. When there's four, we have four people. I think we get the idea. And because of the spontaneity, our cynicism goes down because there's no way this is scripted. There's no way this is organized. And it literally gets inside our soul. And at some point, we literally just let go. And it pours right into our heart, into our soul, into our very being. And that's why it becomes this immersive situation. And we come out transformed. We're not the same person that went in. And it's not about scripts, not that scripts don't have a place. It's not about strategy, not that strategy have a place. It's not about tactics, not that tactics don't have a place. But unless they're built on a foundation of belief, remember I said you will build your life up to the height of your lowest limiting belief. When that limiting belief is raised and it's rock solid and you saw 60 people share, and that's why we organize the event this way. So I want you to bear with me for a moment. I want you to imagine this. Put yourself there. You go to this event. It's a 4-star hotel. It's $133 a night. And if you look in Dallas, 4-star hotels are $200 plus per night.
Yeah, that's a really good rate.
Yeah, but how do we do? It's because we're a not-for-profit. We're a 501c6. So we can, the town of Addison, they give us money. They give the hotel money because they want to bring in associations, particularly nonprofits. They have a certain allocation that they need to bring or want to bring to the city, and we fill that need, and we signed that contract 3 years ago. Second thing, it's $299, and you've got eight meals. I'm looking at God because it's the cameras. 8 meals. Now think about that. 8 meals, and these are. It's not a sandwich and potato or crisps. Potatoes are an Irish thing, and crisps. It's a catered, gorgeous meal. And the reason we do that, we want to treat you like a VIP. We don't say wait until you can, pay $2,000 for a VIP ticket. I'm not knocking that, so please don't hear that. We're just making it more accessible. Remember that to more people immediately. So you come in and everyone's a VIP. There's no cornered off ropes. So I want you to imagine coming into the room, you go in, they're all tables on the round. There are 60 speakers. So the goal is that you always have one of the speakers as much as possible sitting at tables with you. So you come in for the first session. The first session starts and we go from 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock. And then we have a VIP party. You come out, we make it clear, everyone can hang out with one another. Everyone goes to the VIP party. And people go, man, that's incredible. And we set up a goal so that you can ask questions of the people that spoke. It's fully interactive. Then we get up in the morning and we have a breakfast session. And that's an opportunity from the people the night before. You can be in the audience and ask questions of the people that spoke the night before that you were not able to get to in person, which brings this collective learning into the because Kimberly, you know, sometimes it's not the question that you ask is the most insightful question, although you'd like to think so. It's sometimes the question someone else asks.
Right.
No one of us is smarter than all of us.
Mm-hmm.
That's just 9 o'clock in the morning on Friday. Then we go to lunchtime and we have a 2 hour break. You walk out, you get this gorgeous meal that you bring in on a plate into the room. We give you about 30 minutes to do that. Then we take all the speakers go out there from the morning, go on stage, and we do hot seat panels, but we don't broadcast any of this. None of the meal times are broadcast. No one in the room's allowed to record.
Mm-hmm.
We ask everyone to put their phones on the table. We ask everyone to turn them over, show it to one another. No one's recording, and it's raw and real. I mean, the reason is these are the 3 questions we ask you. Now, imagine being on the stage, Kimberly, doing this. So we would all agree that a lot of things have changed over the last 3 years since the pandemic. There's a corona correction. There's a little bit of a, post-pandemic pivot. And I don't mean like we turned completely around. A 1 degree separation, if you play golf, if you change where you hit the ball by 1 degree, it's either going off in the rough or on the fairway or, on the green or hole in one. So ask people, number 1 question, in the last 3 years, is there anything you've changed your mind on? So I'm going to give you a couple of examples, not say names or giving away. Some of the leaders are going to say, hey, I don't want this going out on camera, and that's why I'm answering this at this stage. I've got a large business, probably one of the larger businesses in this room, but not all my business has been growing post-pandemic. Let me tell you some of the challenges we've been dealing with. Post-pandemic mindset. We had a bubble of growth at the start of the pandemic. Everybody was at more people wanted nutrition, more people wanted a business, more people had stimulus checks, and more people were sitting at home. So we had this growth. And now we've had a post-pandemic correction. It's gone down a little bit, and there are people feel like what they're doing is not working. It's working against the big where it was before. And we looked in our group to see if there are any outliers, teams that are growing, and we looked at what are they doing, and we transplanted into the rest of our teams, and now we're all growing. And this is what we're doing. So think about that. I'm just giving you an example.
Yeah.
Now imagine 60 people answering that question. Do you think you might get some insights there?
That's powerful.
Think about it. Now here's another one. What are you going to double down on between now and the end of the year? So think about these leaders who have got so much big data coming to them. What are they going to double down on? What are the things that they're doubling? And I'll give you another example some people are doubling down on. They're calling it, smart mix marketing. In other words, it's the smart mix of social with in person. How do you mix these two together so it's not just one or the other? Like exactly what Kimberly said, she is a social media branding expert. She's forgotten more than I'll ever learn on social media. She's fluent. For me, it's an awkward second language, but I'm learning. But she's also saying that in person is important. So she's learned how to integrate this. It's that smart mix. I like to say, I've been schooled in the old ways. I'm just not stuck in them. And
so good.
Does that make sense? You got to form this connection. So they're talking about that. How do you do that? How do you get high tech and high touch to really integrate? That's a big lesson. So, and then last one, people are saying, hey, we had too much time in our hands. We made our getting started programs too complicated. Simplify. In fact, I love this. I know it sounds so nerdy. I love marketing books. I love the story of Steve Jobs. And there's Thoreau has a famous, I don't know if it's famous or not. There's a poster that says, simplify. So imagine him going into a boardroom. You got a big picture. It says simplify, and it's got Thoreau. In typical Steve Jobs way, he comes up, gets a big marker, and crosses off the simplifies.
Simplifying it even more.
And I say that sounds so simple, but that's what some leaders are doing. Because remember, 100% of people who don't take the first step, they never take the second step. How many of you have complicated things because you've got the curse of knowledge?
Oh, yes. That can hold you back.
You've forgotten what it's like to be the new person who's never got a customer, never got a distributor, never done anything, who's got a little bit of fear, and you are teaching them algebra when they just know how to add and subtract. So that's the second question. The last one is, imagine asking every speaker in the room, what's one big idea, not 10, that everybody in this room, if they were to choose to do so, could implement on Monday, whether it's online or offline, huddle up with their team to make sure it's not a distraction. They all agree with this. That would pay for any costs associated with attending the event. So think about how powerful that would be to have 60 of those when you leave. So that's Friday. We go to lunchtime. Then Friday afternoon, we go to dinner time. We've got a 2-hour break. Then we go dinner. We come back dinner from 7 to 10. Then everybody goes. When I say how much value you get, that's just Friday. We eat breakfast on Saturday, lunch on Saturday. Then we go to dinner. On Saturday nights, it's a gala dinner. You're invited all we're in tux. Now, why are we doing that? We're going to celebrate each other. No company names mentioned. It would probably be the first time you stood up on your feet, applauded somebody that's in a different company and you don't even know what company they're in.
That makes my heart so happy. That's how it should be.
It should be. And then Sunday morning, and then Kimberly on Sunday morning, I mean, I've always started off, giving all the glory and honor to God. I believe there's no such thing as coincidence. It's God's way of remaining anonymous. And we're going to have a service on Sunday morning for those optional.
Wow, that's impressive.
That's fun. It's just at 8 a.m. That's going to be 8 a.m. to 8:30, and then we start off at 9, and then we go from 9 to 12, and then we're finished. But Kimberly, that's $299. So it's $349 right now. When you use the $50 off coupon code and follow the link that Kimberly has put in there, you will get it for $299. So $349 less 50 is $299. My math is working. And guys, you couldn't even eat in Dallas for that. You couldn't stay in a hotel.
You couldn't. You're so right.
Kimberly, I want to thank you. You're not speaking this year because there was a conflict of dates.
Yes.
But you're so gracious to invite me on here to share our message, because this is a grassroots organization. I don't get paid. I want to make it really clear. I don't have some funky way that somehow I get paid. I don't get paid. I mean, I want you to understand, my wife does not get paid for being on the board. I don't get paid. I don't have an expense account. Every board member, I'm paying for Liam's airline ticket. Who's my son, 16-year-old son, who is going to volunteer the whole weekend, my wife and myself. 90 days, we literally knock ourselves out. It's the hardest thing I ever do, is like build a business and do this, working 100 hours plus every week. It is, I say, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I'm strong in the Lord. Because
supernatural. Yes,
that's what I need every day. And I really live that, because I want to serve. I want to grassroots give back. And then we buy our own convention ticket. I buy one, Sylvia buys one, Liam buys one. We pay for our own hotel rooms. And people say, why do you do that? Because I want to live in service. And this is the last point I'm going to make. I truly believe being in service like you do. And I truly believe that what we have is a profession. And when it's a profession, there's a few things assumed. Number one, you use the word, that education is required in order to make money, and you have to achieve a certain standard before you're going to make money, correct? That's number one.
Yes.
Number two, that there's ongoing education required in order to go ongoing and raise up and make money. And number three, that you're part of a profession that has some standards that are required, and we want to and need to raise that up through our example. None of us are perfect. It's not a there policing organization. It's us all learning together. And that's what this is about. And that's what I love about what you say, because I think our profession has three major phases. The rock of it is that you've got to learn how to get enroll customers, keep customers, and grow your customer base on a rock. If you don't build it on a foundation of rock, it's sand. We know what that happens. The next phase, I call it the affiliate phase, which is it's early leverage through getting access to different levels. It's not really like leadership, but it's the early phases of that where you get access to some levels, maybe one level of customers or two or three. It's just that early levels Generally, it's 1 or 2. It's that affiliate phase, but it's dipping your toe in the water. It says, I want to go on to that next phase. And every company kind of deals with it differently. And then you've got the next phase, which is the bigger phase. Less people grow into this phase because it is leadership. Everything rises and falls with leadership. And at that phase, you're beginning to get access of generations of what? Leaders. So first of all, you need to become a leader yourself intentionally. And you're not a great leader till you raise up other great leaders. So at that point, you're going to raise up leaders. You're going to create a culture. It's based upon community. It's based upon relationships. And ultimately, it goes from being a team. It's the last point I'm going to make and pass it back to you. It becomes a family. And I know there may be people on here who feel you just went too far with that word. I think the leaders that ultimately do brilliantly really do feel like this is my family. And I don't mean in that some funky, weird way. It just is, I'm trying to talk about the relationship, the strength of it. It doesn't mean that people don't come and go. It doesn't mean that it's all perfection, but is everything perfect in our families? No.
I think that's an understatement. Yeah. And I couldn't agree more. Yeah. And, being in a family is that sense of belonging. That's what it starts with. And when you have the culture and the leadership, you do feel like you belong. And when people do it the right way, it's not just if somebody's winning and having rank advancements, they're just there showing up, and true leaders get that. And that allows that person to feel seen and heard. What we would like to do, your generosity is, inspiring. We would like to sponsor one of you to go. So what we're going to do is if you share this out, so when you see because this is on LinkedIn, YouTube, a couple of different places, you can share it into your stories and there's a spot to put the link, but also from Facebook, there's a share button. You can share it to your wall or it'll say share your story. Just make sure you tag me on it. The Gold Digger Girl, Kimberly Olson, depending on where you're sharing, and, tag Garrett as well. So he knows. And then we'll give you guys 24 hours to do that. If you don't get chosen or you're like, I just want to get my ticket.
So as an
yay!
So let's make it.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
Yeah, without a doubt, because I just want to, acknowledge your generosity. I didn't know you were going to do that. And myself and Sylvie will purchase that ticket as well to come alongside you because you are just such a generous, creative, caring, amazing leader. I just want to thank you and thank your community for inviting me on here. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Okay, cool. So we're doing 2, so we'll be able to sponsor. And you can get the information on the location, the dates, all of that when you click the link in my Facebook cover and my personal profile. So just click the cover, you'll see the link right there, or you can DM me if you can't find it. Myself and my team can get the link for you, no problem. If you use that link, you'll get $50 off. And what a great gift. So you could even grab one for your team and you could even, do a giveaway for your team. What a great incentive. Just really get them fired up for the last third here of the month. Not that I keep track of that, but I do. So awesome.
And Kimberly, they have on Wednesday night, Pacific time, midnight Pacific time. So the hotel block is available to them. You can click through on the link. When you go to the reference link that Kimberly gave you, you'll see the hotel block. And also the price is $349. It goes up on that night as well at midnight. And they're also 5 packs and 10 packs. And guys, we will look after you. I want you to come up and give me a hug, an opportunity.
Get a picture. Yes.
And there's no velvet rope. I really want to make sure you get this. We are all there, grassroots. We are all equal. And we're all there to help and support one another. We don't talk about products. We don't talk about companies. We don't talk about programs. We don't ask if anybody is happy or unhappy. We just assume everyone's happy and
don't do that if you go. Please.
We're there to support and help you. And I know I said this probably 5 or 6 times, Kimberly. You're such a great example of what a new standard in this profession is about, and about having abundance mindset and supporting and helping other people. And it just makes the world a better place because we are our brother's keeper. And when we truly do live a life of service, I believe we can truly transform the world, and we should never forget the power of a committed few. And we're more than a committed few. Sometimes we just need to fellowship together for us all to feel that, because we're stronger together. And thank you.
Yes, we are. Thank you so much. And I see your beautiful wife on here too. Sylvia, I can't wait to connect with you. I'm so excited. I'm manifesting a meetup so I can meet you and Garrett, and it's just going to be incredible. But for those of you in my community, I really want to encourage you to look at the date, see if you can make it. Also, take that link and share it into your team chats, because when you can give them a neutral resource like this, right, where there's no, it doesn't, incentivize you at all. There's nothing that you get from it. It's a safe way to share a tool with your team that's going to benefit them. So please, share the information for your teams, whether or not you use my code. I mean, definitely give them a deal. But I want you guys to have a resource to share with your teams and make this happen. Make the time to get here, get into this event, because it's absolutely going to be life-changing. Thank you so much, Garrett. I appreciate it.
Oh, Kimberly, thank you very much. You're an inspiring example. And yes, my wife is the rock of our family. And I feel, as I said, one of the greatest gifts that I got through network marketing, as I said, it renewed and created a new faith. I found my wife through that, my family, and all the things that have happened from that. And just know that I'm very grateful and just love and appreciate my family. And I see that in you too. And I think we need more people who are a stand for that, so that they can see that example. Use your words if you must, but I think by our example, we can lead. And just thank you again for being an amazing world-class example for all of us to aspire to. And God bless you and thank you.
Thank you. God bless you and your family. All right, guys, have a great rest of the day. Till next time, get lit in your business and set your soul on fire. We'll see you soon.
God bless. Thank you.